Hello. Today we're going to do my most difficult restoration yet on cast iron. I'm going to attempt to turn a very rusty old Wagner pot into something that I can actually use in my kitchen. So here's my pot. I bought it at an auction, paid about $12 for it. As you can see, it's a Wagner Ware from Sydney, Ohio. I'm going to attempt to turn this into something that I can actually eat out of. First thing I'm going to do is simply take it over to my rain barrel and try and knock the big chunks of rust off of it before I try and put it in my electrolysis tank to let electrolysis work, take all this nastiness off. Alright, so I'm at my rain barrel, and like I said, what I'm going to do first, try and scrape any of the big chunks off. I'm not really trying to work too hard. I'm just trying to get the excess mud and dirt. This was in somebody's woodshed at this auction. I don't know what they were using it for, but they certainly were in a perfectly good pot. Go to pot. You can see already, just by knocking the rust off, you can see the maker's mark a lot better now. So now that I've knocked the big chunks off, I'm going to go over and just put it in my electrolysis tank and let it do its thing. So we've dipped the pan, I've scrubbed it, cleaned it. Still got a lot of rust, but this is actually just surface rust. I'm gonna have to get that off of there. Unfortunately, there is a lot of pitting. I don't think you can tell on the camera, but the back bottom is pretty smooth. The logo is in good shape, so that's great. So what we're going to do is I'm going to show you how to get rid of the surface rust. And the first thing that you do, and you put it on your stove top, low heat. We're just going to try and get it warmed up. Yeah, you can actually see the rust and the pitting in that light better. But we're going to let this warm up till it's just warm to the touch on the handle. And then we're going to rub it down and see if we can't get most of this rust off. So the pan is now warm to the touch, and what you do next is whatever medium you're using to season the pan in the end, you're going to take just a little bit of that and put in here. I like to use lard, and I know a lot of people are probably like, oh my god, lard's so bad for you. But think about it, back in the early 20s, 30s, when this pan was made, lard was what they were using. So it makes perfect sense to me to use lard to season the pans. And my dog thinks he wants a bite. Go ahead. You're going to just rub the whole pan. We're going to get this in here to get all nice and melty. Take a paper towel, fold it up. Then I'm just going to take that oil. I'm going to rub the whole pan, handle included. Try and get as much of the excess oil out of there as possible, so it doesn't make a mess on the stove when I flip it over. Now you can see we've got the whole thing. A napkin is pretty nasty. The whole thing is covered. It looks a lot better, but that's just because the rust is black. We're going to let this cool down for about 5 minutes, and then we're going to go back to it and we're going to rub it down some more, and hopefully that'll get all the rust off of it. The pan's now cooled down enough that I can grab it without burning my fingers off. And all we're going to do now, we're going to take a clean paper towel and we are going to just really scrub it down. See how much gunk is coming off of that? What I like to do is, once I've rubbed it down with a paper towel, because paper towels, especially when it's pitted like this, don't know if you can see it or not, but the paper towels tend to leave a little bit of fuzz. So I have my cast iron rag that I use. This is a lint-free. This is actually just an old shirt that isn't any good anymore. To give it another really good rub down, oil and rust off as possible. And see, you can really see the pitting, but most of the rust is gone. Might be a little bit more rust on the outside here that needs to be scrubbed. Bottom is really turning out nice. There was that rust spot there that it's actually not even pitted all that bad. So I think I'm gonna heat this back up, give it one more rub down and see what it looks like. And then we will go from there and start the actual seasoning process. So I actually had to do it about 3 times, but I got all of the rust out of there. So the pitting, there's not much I can do about. Well, I got all the rust off of it. So now we're going to get ready to start the seasoning process. I've preheated my oven to 425 degrees, and I've actually got 2 other ones that I'm going to do at the same time just because they need to be done. It's been an hour. Let's take a look and see what we got. Favorite peakware. It's looking pretty good. Here we got our Birmingham stove and range number 3. Looking good too. And finally, we have our Wagner Ware chicken fryer. Now, the reason that it looks so wonky is because we have the original smooth surface, which is highly glossed in black, and then we have the pitted surface, which is lighter looking. So what we're going to do now, put these guys back in here. We'll go ahead and shut the oven off, and we're just going to let it cool down naturally, and probably do this 2 or 3 more times and see what we get. I actually think that I did it 6 or 7 more times, so we're gonna take a look. I don't think I'm gonna do any more. I am gonna season the rest of it just naturally as I cook with it. So let's take a look and see what we got. I've already let it cool back down. I brought the temperature, I cooked it for an hour, brought the temperature back down. I'm gonna go ahead and open this up, and as you can see, the other pans that I'm seasoning right now are not the same ones in the other video because I was done with those. It's not all the way cool yet, so let's go. This is a number 5 small logo Griswold that I bought. It was not in really bad shape, but it still needed to be redone. This is a number 3 Good Health skillet, which was actually also a Griswold. It had a whole lot of surface rust on it. It wasn't horribly bad. It was just, like I said, it had a lot of surface rust, and this is going into my collection. I've actually got another Good Health skillet. I'm hoping that I can get the entire collection. So this one looks pretty good as well. And now for the star of our show, here is the Wagner Ware chicken fryer. You can see that this coloration is still there as far as the high gloss versus the duller stuff. But again, if you remember from the beginning of the video where this pan came from and how it started, that's just a lot of pitting that there's nothing I can really do about. But I am super happy with how this guy has turned out. I'm going to cook with it a couple of times before I make my final decision to see whether or not I keep it and replace my vintage Lodge pan, or if I put it in my booth to sell. This is how you clean a nasty rusty pan and turn it into something usable. So if you like this video, please let me know. Put any comments down. If you'd like to see any more videos of my cast iron restoration, please let me know in the comments, and I will try and put more videos together. Have a great evening.